It's me again. Today's date is November 27th, 2022. It's a Sunday, and tomorrow is a trading day. We are very excited about Mmtlp. As far as price action goes, we might not see anything until later this week, as corporate notices roll out Monday and Tuesday. So you figure Wednesday and Thursday is when notices start to roll out about the shares needing to come back. The shares needing to be bought back because we're going into Nextbridge, a private company. There's not going to be any QSIP on this. It's not DTCC eligible. And I get a lot of questions still on, well, what happens if there's more shorted shares or synthetic shares? Really, they're not referring to synthetics in the sense of like option synthetics. People are asking synthetics in the form of fail to deliver synthetics. So that's the synthetic we're going to talk about, how it's created. What happens if there's more synthetic shares than actual shares in what there should be if there's more than 165 million synthetic shares. And also we're going to talk about a couple other scenarios and questions that I get, such as, well, Bird Lady, what happens if nobody's selling? Sometimes you just need a real life perspective on this, or situations where this does actually happen. What happens in that regard? Okay, and let me preface by saying this is not financial advice in any way, shape, or form. This is entertainment, hence our costume. Are you not entertained? This is my own personal blog. This is just one bird's thoughts. We are going to substitute shares, because I'm a bird, with mealworms. Chickens love mealworms. Pigeons like peas. Pigeons don't eat mealworms. They're pretty vegetarian-like. But chickens love mealworms. That's like prime rib if you're a chicken, is a mealworm. So, and they're easy to draw. Mealworms are easier to draw. They look like an S. So these are mealworms. That's me. So I have 5 mealworms, right? That's my total share count, 5 mealworms. I don't need these mealworms now. I'm going to leverage these mealworms and lend them out, because we can do that. We can lend them out. Make some money on the side. Nobody's going to do anything with these mealworms. Let's lend them out. So I lend out my 5 mealworms. The 5 different people. Okay? There's 5 mealworms to 5 different people. 1 mealworm to 1 person. It adds up, right? The number of mealworms, which they all have right now, adds up to what I have, is 5. I have 5. 5 people have 1 each. That adds up. That's normal. Not everybody wants to hold on to their mealworms. Maybe down the road, but they're like, no, I can leverage it. That guy's leveraging it. I want to leverage it too. Why not? It's a free market. Okay. So you have some people, all these people, they lend out their mealworms to the 2nd generation for a fee. These people all have 5 mealworms. Some people keep their mealworms. This guy keeps his mealworm, and this guy keeps his mealworm. But not everybody wants their mealworms, okay? Some people say, those guys are leveraging their mealworms by lending them out. I want to lend them out too. So this guy lends out his mealworm to this guy. And these 2 guys lend out their mealworms to this guy. This guy even lends out his mealworm. So really, there's 5 mealworms total. Okay? But in theory now in book, there's more than 5 mealworms cycling around, because these guys all had 5 mealworms. They're owed in total 5 mealworms. But now, technically, there's more than 5 mealworms out there. There's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's a total of 9 theoretical mealworms out there. 4 of those mealworms are what you call synthetics or failed to delivers, okay? These are what you're talking about. And you go, Bird Lady, what if I have a fake mealworm? I'm going to go private. And I say, hey, we got to account for these mealworms. 5 mealworms have to equal 5 mealworms. Some people don't want to sell their mealworms. Some people have already transferred their mealworms into the mealworm vault. That'd be AST. We need a count of the mealworms. They all have to match. We gotta, you lent out your mealworms. Time to close up your position. You can't be lending out mealworms in this case. Either you own it or you don't. You can't lend it. Ah. Okay, so there's 5 mealworms. There's 9 on paper, 9 in theory. This guy has to say, hey, you want to sell this mealworm? I want to buy it from you. And this guy says, this is not for sale. I love mealworms. It's the best. It's the future. He says, I'll give you $5 for it. Heck no. $10. No. 15. No, 20. Okay, yeah, I guess you can have my mealworm. So this guy paid $20 for a mealworm. This guy needs to buy his mealworm back. To give it to the boss man above him. It has to go up the chain. He's not selling for less than 20. He'll lose money on it, right? So this guy says, hey, I'll give you $10. Heck no, I just paid 20 for this mealworm. I'm not selling it for 10. Give me 30 or 40. I'll give you 30. Best I can do. Okay. These guys see that price now is at least $30. They say, no, we want $40 for our mealworms. Okay. And then it goes up the chain. These guys are going to want at least $40 for their mealworms because now the floor is 40. Right? Everybody's buying up mealworms like it's no tomorrow because there's more of a demand to buy back these mealworms than there are supply of mealworms. If there's more of a demand than there is supply, the price goes up. What happens if none of these people sell it to those people now? The price goes up. They say, we'll give you $100 for the mealworms. No, not 100. 200, no. 300, no. 400. This guy breaks. 400, he's out. And now he's good to give his mealworm back to me. 400's now the floor. These guys say, no, we're not. Then it goes down a bit. Maybe it's $3.95. These guys say, I'm not selling. This guy sold for $400. I'm holding out. It's a game of poker now. 400, no. 425, no. 500, okay, this guy's out. And that's how it goes until all the mealworms, it might go up to $800 until they all have each of their mealworms and they can give them back to me. That's how that works. You say, Burr Lady, what happens if nobody's selling their mealworms? If nobody's selling their shares of Mmtlp, think of supply and demand. 10 you're at an auction and there's one awesome item you like. There's one item. They don't have but a few. They have one. There's a Furby. There's a Furby there. The Furby toy that everybody's fighting to get. Or toilet paper. Whatever is the popular item. And there's only one. Somebody starts bidding on it right away because he sees all these other guys wanting it. So he's going to bid on it. Then the other guy bids on it. The price keeps going up. In this case, it goes up until somebody sells. The price will go up dramatically until somebody sells. If nobody sells, the price keeps going up until somebody's sell limit breaks. So it says people have sell limits at $80. $75. I know people have sell limits at $20 and $30. If nobody's selling below $20 or $30, once it hits 20 or 30, that triggers some sell limits, right? And then people are going to rush to buy those. But people still need to buy. They need to cover and get their mealworms back. So the price will keep going up. You also have people who want to get in on this mealworm squeeze. That's what they play. And they'll play it at $100 to $500. So the people who need to get their mealworms back are now competing with other people who want that same item. The price goes up. Everything's technically for sale. Eventually, it will get to a price where you're like, oh yes, I want to sell that. Now, does everybody have to sell their shares? No. Because some people have already transferred their shares to AST and they're happy with taking NextBridge. Like I said, I value NextBridge minimum $32 to $60, and that's conservative for the oil and gas. There's no point in me selling below that because I'm going to hold out for NextBridge. In my opinion, and this is my opinion only, I believe the oil and gas have significant value and to be in demand. Once this spins out, it's going to be in demand. Why am I going to sell at 20, 30, 40 bucks? That doesn't make sense to me. Plus, I have to pay tax on it, short-term tax, right? Then I miss opportunity costs of the big oil company buying it and dividends. Take all that into consideration. That's why my sell limit's now starting the 3 digits. Then this high 2 digits for the original words, now 3 digits. Factored in opportunity costs, maybe at my age, I'd like the dividends. It's nice. It's just, I don't have to do anything. I can just collect the checks, right? You don't have to do anything. You just collect money. If I want the money now, I gotta think about more taxes and such as a result. It's factored in there. And plus the opportunity cost of not having this opportunity again. It's once a lifetime opportunity, in my opinion. So I have to factor that in. The opportunity cost to me really bumped things up. No, not everybody can sell their shares. As a result, the same share is going to have to be bought back multiple times. Price will keep going up. And that's how this works. Supply and demand, that's how it works. There's been a lot of confusion, and I get this question, so I hope this more or less answers it. You could also check out this video, link below. It talks about the FTDs, the synthetic shares, otherwise known as FTDs in this sense. Not synthetic in terms of options, but synthetic in terms of FTDs. And what happens with positions with FTDs need to be closed out. Because you can't go into a private company with these positions. This video does a good job about that. And explains it in a bit different way than what I do. That's about the simplest way I can explain it. This video is about the simplest way you can explain it. I don't know how to simplify it anymore, and I apologize for that. But I hope this helps you. Because I get a lot of questions again. What happens if nobody sells? And then people are going to say, people also think that, the fail to deliver synthetic shares would make the next bridge count higher. That's not how it works. There's 5 mealworms, 165 million MMTLP. Next bridge combines the other interests of the Oro Grande. But MMTLP has to go into this with the same position. It has 66.5% of that. You can't add more MMTLP. There can't be another offer made on the table because that is a tax liabilities to Meta's books. There's not going to be an offer of shares like there usually is in these sort of instances where the price goes up because that's, again, it's a tax liability on Meta's books. This is a very unique situation that you don't encounter hardly ever. So that's why I'm very excited about this. Okay, guys, that's it for today. I hope this clears up some confusion about how this whole system works. I will see you soon. Goodbye.